People have made amazing map art creations. The problem is, they look horrific up close. But maybe that doesn't have to be the case. Okay, that's it. I'm going to be the first person to make a base that looks great on a map as well as in 3D. But first, I have a problem to look into. I have 2.5 years worth of chest monsters, but my base has no room for an automated sorter. All the farms plus a full storage would definitely set my PC on fire. So I need a good location for a storage system which I can then hide under a map art base. I think I have a plan, and it all starts with step 1, finding the perfect location. Alright, we're heading that way. The stronghold is the ideal location because it's the most versatile place in the entire game for quick travel. I've already marked out the area that we'll be building in with some wool pillars. Let's start by setting up a beacon and clearing the trees. So I already ran into a problem. That one beacon doesn't cover the entire area. Let's get some more to make my life a little easier. There's a perfect fortress to farm wither skeletons over in this direction. And today I'm finally building a wither skeleton farm here. The Soulsand Valley is ideal for this farm because the biome is coded to be desolate. Only a few skeletons and ghast spawn here, so there's plenty of room in the mob cap for fortress mobs to spawn without any spawn proofing. And this easy to build farm designed by ianxofour makes perfect use of those circumstances. If you're curious why I'm only making a wither skeleton farm after 5,000 plus days, I've played all that time without using the F3 screen. So I haven't had access to coordinates, which is really fun and adventurous, but it gets really complicated when you want to link up nether portals. So I decided that I'll start using coordinates going forward, but only to link up nether portals, so I can take this world to the next level. Also, building this farm without coordinates could kill me if I mess up my portals, so there's that. Let's see if I got it right. A gold apple may seem like a bit much there, but I didn't know how many wither skeletons were there, and in hardcore you just don't risk it. Let's build up and set up the correct portals. Something is wrong because the farm isn't working yet. I'm going to have to test the portals in the nether to see where the skellies actually go. Wither skeletons are scary. Surely there's not like dozens of them on the other side, but better safe than sorry. Okay, well, those do end up in the right place at least. It turned out that the platform for the killing chamber was a couple blocks too high. So after fixing that, I now have a working wither skeleton farm. Let's grab some regen potions from the base and kill a couple withers to get my beacons. Since Minecraft update 1.21 came out, there's only one right way to fight the wither, and I have just the place to do it. I just need to put on some diamond armor first. And now we make our way to my ocean monument. This platform is waterlogged. I use it to collect mob heads from charged creepers during thunderstorms, but it can also handle wither explosions. Let me show you how this is done. That was actually a lot of fun, but now that it's done, I can set up the beacons and start digging the area. half of the area done, although I think the other side of the river is a little bit more work. Okay, that's progress. I'm done digging, but I have to enchant some new tools because I broke 4 netherite pickaxes while clearing the area. Let's just say it was a very zen mining session. But now I have to hop by my base to get new tools. I found all the books I need to make these maxed out picks, but it's probably going to burn all my levels. Yeah, I'm level 13 now. That sucks. You know what? Let's do it one more time for old time's sake. Maybe this is the very last time that I'll be level 69 in this world. With that out of the way, it's time for step 2 of my plan. I have to design and build my dream storage. Up to this point, I've worked out of 2 storage rooms. This one in my starter house for the first 1,000 days or so, and this one in my main base since then. I don't think anyone can argue that it didn't work with all the things I've built so far, but the chest monsters are growing ever larger. So the time has come to take my storage to the next level, and if you want to figure out how to do that, there's only one place to go. The Storage Tech Discord. Let me take you on a quick tour through an epic corner of the Minecraft community. If you would ask me at any given moment what the best thing about Minecraft is, I would probably say something like this. The game is so simple that everyone immediately gets it, but at the same time, it has this unbelievable depth to it. My adventure in the Storage Tech archives embodies that statement so perfectly. We all start out here, crafting our first chest, and that works pretty well. But somehow, people have ended up in some crazy places. These people are, in my eyes, legitimate scientists, engineers, pioneers, and they deserve their props. So I want to give a heartfelt shout out to all the redstoners, farm designers, storage wizards, and basically every technical player out there for making the game what it is today. Truly, you guys rock. Reading up on the Storage Tech basics was more complicated than most university courses I've followed. So going over all of it in this video isn't realistic. But after 3 days of studying in the Storage Tech archives, I felt ready to cook up my first storage system, and I'll show you how everything works as I build it. Before we get to that, there is one important question to answer though. What am I going to sort? There are over 1,400 items we have access to in survival. But making a system for every item is in my eyes a waste of time and resources. Lots of items are too specific to sort, too easy to make on the spot, or never needed in large quantities. So I narrowed down my selection to 52 blocks I want to store in bulk with shulker box loaders, and 307 items where 2 double chests should be enough. After a couple design iterations, this is what the bones of my storage look like. Let's get back to my hardcore world and build this thing. I'll tell you more about the details later. First things first, I need to head to my main base to get the resources. Luckily, the base has a lot of farms, so we should be fine. There's 2 witch farms that will give us all the redstone materials. If I dump 7 shulker boxes of stone into here, the minecarts will distribute it over 92 furnaces and we'll have all the smooth stone we need. Now I need 3,000 chests and 2,000 hoppers. That one will be a bit problematic because I don't have a wood farm yet, but we'll build some later at the storage location. Then there's a lot of redstone components that need to be crafted. Okay, let's see. I've been going around my base for a while now, and this is what I've collected. That's mostly everything I need. There's just one block that is a bit harder to get. I need 492 target blocks. And the hay bales used to craft those are a bit of a pain. Maybe I still have them in my starter house. That's 63. It helps, but I'm nowhere close to getting all of them. I just went through all the chests in my base and I didn't find the hay bales, but I really want to start building, so I'm going to do something drastic and take out a loan with a Looneyville bag. If that was hard to watch, then you might want to close your eyes for what's going to happen next. Yeah, that looks awful. I promise I'll place it back later. For now, I have everything we need, so it's time to get started. I'll take all of these shulker boxes and head over to the build site for the storage. It's probably a good idea to make one more run to the base to get some torches, scaffolding, and a shulker box filled with night vision potions. Okay, that's all the potions I need. Let me refill the bottles so the auto brewer keeps working. I'm taking this box of scaffolding, and then we're ready to head back. Let's light up the area. And now I'm finally ready to start building. I think this is high enough. I'm keeping plenty of space under the storage room floor for future expansions. First order of business is getting the floor plan in place. From this center point, I will have 2 hallways on each side, with 50 item slots per hallway in total. So that's the floor plan. I left some holes for item transport tubes and slime block launchers. Now we need to put all those target blocks around the outside. These are used to lock the hoppers of this part of the storage hall. Hopper locking is one of the most important principles in storage tech. Let me explain how it works. Hoppers have 2 states, unlocked, which is their normal state, in which they interact with items, and locked, which is their powered state. In this state, they don't interact with items. The reason this is so important is that an unlocked hopper needs to check for items to interact with. The game calculates that check in the background, and you don't really notice. But these calculations become problematic when you have a lot of hoppers checking for items at the same time all the time. So a perfect storage system would lock every hopper all the time it doesn't need to be active. But a perfect storage system doesn't exist. So storage tech designers try to get as close to perfect as they can, which is really darn close, with hopper locking rates close to 100% in complete storage systems. And then there's me with my embarrassing chest monsters. I think you can see why I'm taking this so seriously. Meanwhile, I've placed out all the chests for this lower part of the storage. To speed things up a bit, I'm using a mod called Lifesteal that shows where all the blocks from my design should go. And right here, my OBS recording mysteriously froze for the next few hours. So for this next part, you're getting a flashback montage. But I should really address something here. Until recently, I have hated on Lifesteal quite a bit, but I actually never tried it out. So the first time I actually tried it for my previous video, I felt like such an idiot for my previous take on using the mod. Turns out, it's a great tool that will help you get cooler video ideas to you guys quicker, like this map art base that we're about to build. If you're a bit of a Minecraft purist like I used to be, all I ask is give me the benefit of the doubt until the end of the video, and I think you'll see how the loony Lifesteal era is going to be pretty awesome. I'm extremely stoked on the possibilities, and generally speaking, excited content equals good content. As you can see, the frozen OBS recording session was a productive one in terms of building because all of the item filters are in place, including the 64 shulker box loading units. The lower part of the storage is made out of double speed item filters. These are designed by Mangrove, and they differ from regular item filters because of a downward facing hopper, which pushes items down while the lower hopper pulls them out. This only works if the filters are loaded correctly, but we'll get to that later when I load them. The upper part of the storage consists of a shulker box loader system made out of alternating slime and honey slices of this design, which is made by SirGD and Kartoffel. Now I have to add hopper locking systems for all these components and water streams to move the items around the storage. And with the main components done, it's time to load the item filters. For double speed filters, you need this layout where the lower hopper has a full stack of the sortable item and a different set of filter items than the top hopper. Okay, now in practice, I need a lot of snow layers. These are going to be named items that go in the system, which are never going to end up in the system otherwise, because if they do, everything breaks. Now I need iron for the anvils, and then I'm going to make my way back to the storage and name all the items, which means I now have 0 levels left. That's just sad. Now I have to fill up all the item filters with the filter items, and then we have to go on a mission. Because the advantage of this system is it is twice as fast, but the disadvantage is it needs a stack and 1 of every item I want to sort. All in all, it's not that bad. I just have to go on a little trip to find things like old saplings, hay bales. Let me actually grab a couple extra of these because I have an outstanding debt. I completely destroyed the durability of my hoe, so I have to drop by the base, but I couldn't help activating the portal. Okay, let me heal this thing up. Yeah, I'm stuck in a composter. I don't know how I got here. But I do have all the saplings I needed now. Ah, yes, I finally found an azalea tree for rooted dirt. Getting all the required items and loading the filters was a couple hours of work, but The storage is ready to go now. That means it's time to set up the shulker box unloader. I'm using this slice designed by Command Leo. This will empty the shulker boxes and put them in a water stream, where the items have to float up in the water to get over this slab. This is a simple way to batch items, which means that multiple instances of the same item get collected into mini stacks of a couple items. If you don't do this, items can shoot past their filter because of a mechanic called hopper cooldown. Right after picking up an item, hopper is disabled for 8 game ticks, or 4/10 of a second. Batching items avoids this problem because the hopper picks up an entire mini stack and then there's plenty of time before the next one arrives. Now all that is left is the water streams where items get aligned by either sea pickles on the inside corners or honey blocks on the outside corners. And with that out of the way, I now have automated storage. This lever right here turns the system on or off, in which state most of the hoppers in the system are locked. And all the items that don't get sorted end up in overflow chests, which we'll address later. Let's start killing chest monsters and dumping the items in the storage so it starts filtering through it while I switch my attention and build that map art base that I promised you. Oh my god, that looks so sick! Oh, I'm happy this thing is running. We'll check back on the progress later, because this is what the storage looks like on the map right now, and I want to change that. So it's time for step 3 of my plan, laying out the map art. You've seen the design on the thumbnail, so it's no mystery what the map is going to look like. But to get there, we're going to need some interesting blocks. One of those is oxidized copper, which needs a bit of time. So I'm going to grab my copper supply from the smelter room. Oh, there's a lot of cut copper here, but if I let normal blocks of copper oxidize instead, I can cut those up into 4 cut copper per block using a stone cutter. There was a lot of cut and copper in that sentence. Okay, that's the start, but I need some more blocks. So let's turn on the shaders and fly over the ocean to find copper veins. Almost unfair how easy it is to find these. That trip was very productive. Almost 2 shulker boxes of raw copper. Let's drop by the base and smelt it up. That's a lot of copper blocks. Multiply that by 4 after putting it through a stone cutter and it should definitely be enough. Next up, I need gold blocks, which means small AFK session at the gold farm. That's the perfect time to get in a quick workout. One workout later, this is probably way too much gold, but I'll take it. After getting loads of glow lichen from one of the weirder farms in my world and collecting warp nylium from the nether, I'm now ready to start working on the map. That's a perfect way to enter, I don't want to hear it. So that is the first platform. Let's fly back inside and update the map to see how it looks. Okay, that's the start, and it does not look like much, so I should probably do a whole lot more of that. Well, that is progress, but there is a slight issue. I should put some torches up here. I have actually made a lot of progress, but I'm all out of warped planks and I don't feel like waiting, so it's time for a quick trip to the nether and some manual labor. Let's see a quick progress update. This is headed in the right direction. Let me just quickly finish all the green parts. And now that is done, we're getting to the brown sections. Crazy thing is that we can actually use tough blocks to get the map color. I just need a good place to mine a lot of it, and I think I have a pretty great idea. I'm going to dig down right about here. Not only are we right above a stronghold, but there is also an ancient city right underneath. Alright, let me put a beacon down here and see how much we can find. Unironically, this might be the best location in the game to look for tough. Well, if you happen to have an ancient city where you removed all the shriekers like I did here a long time ago. I got everything I need. Let's head back up. My tools are messed up from that mining session, so I need to mend them, and I'm going to do that at the Wither Skeleton Farm. This isn't the best place for XP, but it's certainly not the worst place either. The reason I'm going here is I need a lot of bone meal later on, and this is probably the quickest way to collect the bones for it. I couldn't resist standing here until I got back to 69 again. Now, this might really be the last time. That got me almost 2 double chests of bones. Now, it's time to build the tough platforms. Okay, all the lower platforms are done now. It's time to take the disguise. I just realized I need to check on the copper down below because we have more blocks to oxidize. Yo, this is looking great. I'm not entirely sure if this works, but I'm just going to put the rest of the copper on top of these ones and check back later. Alright, that is all the platforms done. Looks kind of crazy to be honest. I didn't place that many blocks, but the build looks so much bigger now. It doesn't quite look like an eye of ender yet on the map though. And that's because I still have to place the glow icon. Okay, hear me out. I just had a crazy realization. All those color platforms behind me, don't they give you a little bit of a playground vibe? Well, turns out that's exactly what it is. Check this out. Oh, that was actually sick. I love the maze so much. With that part finished, I can now move on to step 4 of my plan, turning this map art into an actually cool base. And that starts with building the foundation of a city. The foundation looks sturdy enough to build on now, but to make the city above look dynamic, I need height variations at the base. That works. Let me hop into a creative world and I'll show you why that was important. These are the designs I cooked up for the towers that will make up the city. All these towers are made out of 8 block high segments which are rotated and then stacked up in an A-B pattern. The uneven foundations will make sure that not all the support beams of all the towers line up perfectly, which would just be super boring to look at. So let's start collecting the resources to build the towers. Yo, it turns out that stacking the copper once it's oxidized works great. Let's put another layer on top. While that oxidizes, I need to set up a tree farm here. Luckily, we can consult ianxofour for most farm-related problems. Let's give this thing a test run. To nobody's surprise, that farm worked like a charm, which brings us to the grindiest, most boring part of the project. So I'm going to skip right past 3 full days of IRL work here. Long story short, running the tree farm, killing wither skeletons, stripping logs. And then all of those, again, then again, and again. For a grand total of about 22,000 stripped logs. But that brings me to the problem of the mangrove trees, which are not compatible with this farm. So I dug a hole here to add in another farm, made by Corentin SICARD. This farm isn't nearly as fast as the other tree farm, but it still does a pretty good job. I just need to strip the logs. My guy, you're in the way. I'm going to ask nicely, but just once. Please be so kind as to move over, sir. Well, I got all my strip logs ready to go now. Let's start constructing the towers. I'm starting with the towers at the center of the city, and those are mostly made out of mangrove components. So that is what one section looks like. The one on top of that is nearly identical, but rotated 90 degrees, and from there it's just a matter of stacking them on top until we reach the roof platform. And that's one tower done. With Litematica assistance, that took me about an hour or so to do. This is going to take a while. Including mangrove farming, stripping more logs, crafting components, it took me 7 hours just to make these 3 towers. Let's move on to the acacia towers. Ooh. Missing feature, lightning rods. I still have to craft these. Oops, I don't think I recorded any of that. I was lucky to still have a lot of copper in the smelter output, so I just crafted a ton of lightning rods. But according to the material list, I need 1100 of them. This is 640, so I have to get some more later. But for now, let's build. The Acacia Tower has an easier design to build, so these are moving a lot faster. Yo, this towering city in the background of the village looks pretty sick, to be honest. We got paratroopers dropping in? What the heck? I've made a lot of progress on the Acacia Towers, but I'm out of lightning rods. There seems to be a lot of copper in this area though. Let's see how far these surface veins get me. Okay, I got so much copper, this is actually crazy. Let me smelt it up. While that is smelting, I can't help myself. Time for some quick slime jump parkour. Even though I technically failed that, I'm counting it as a win. I'm so flipping tired from this entire day of grinding towers. I just have one Acacia Tower left, but I literally spent 15 hours building towers today. I'm so done. Where did this guy come from? There is no nether portal anywhere close. I swear I'm seeing things. Next day, Looney here. I made quick work of the last Acacia Towers, and it's time to move on to Spruce. But I incorporated a lot of brewing stands in the design, so I have to go and get some blaze rods to craft those. Luckily, I have a double blaze spawner farm, so let me turn down the render distance as low as it goes to despawn all the other mobs, and then we just wait. Alright, here we go. That's about half a shulker box of brewing stands. Let's start building the towers. I found something absurd. Let me check Creative World to see if this is real. Okay, it actually is. What the heck? I designed a tower with an entire slice of it missing. So, not all the roof sections are the same size. And to adjust for that, I just remodeled some of the towers to fit. Didn't quite work out with this one. But the position in the city means we can only see a tiny bit of the problem? I'll see what I do about it later on. All the spruce towers are done now. Well, pretty much. The jungle ones are next, but unfortunately, the tree farm is not quite self-sustaining on jungle saplings, so I need to get some more of those real quick. To prepare for the next tower type, I had to craft up a bunch of lecterns, so I made a quick trip to my base to visit some farms and my old storage for all the materials. But besides that, the jungle design didn't really present any new challenges. Next up are the bamboo towers. Let me plant a small bamboo forest up here just in case I run out of blocks. I also still need to strip these. I'm letting the bamboo grow in on the towers because it makes for a cool design. Besides that, the last two tower types are more of what you've seen already, so I'm going to skip past this next part. This center part of the city looks pretty impressive, but let's check what it looks like on the map. We can see a bit of a mess where my shulkers are, but otherwise, this looks like an ender eye, alright? Let's start working on the bottom part of the city then. I need to drop by my base to collect some dripstone blocks. You might not notice, but there's a dripstone farm here under the floor. I've been stockpiling this stuff for a while now. Oh, that's plenty. I'm going to start with the front wall. Hang on, I need to get some terracotta to dye light gray. Now I can finish the front wall. There's going to be a gate right here, but let's build all the walls first. These get their texture from granite, polished granite, terracotta and light gray terracotta, to add some detail to the dripstone that we can see from far away. Like Medica makes quick work of this, but I still gotta watch out for creepers. Right, that's the lower part, but it doesn't look like much. Unfortunately, I can't really continue building until I collect the next resource. I need a little over 13,000 endstone, which means I'm about 13,000 endstone short. And there's only one good way to get that. All my replacement picks are now dead. Let me fix that. That wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. About 2.5 hours of mining, and I got everything I needed. The end island doesn't even look that weird, just very clean, I guess. With all the endstone I just got, I'm going to build on top of those dripstone walls that I just made. And now I want a curved roof on this front wall. Oh, look at that. There's a creeper party going on. That looks cool, but I want to extend that going backwards all the way to the foundation of the towers. And that's where all that oxidized copper comes in. I'm going to the base real quick to get some honeycomb so I can wax it. Editing loony here. Hear me out. This whole waxing fully oxidized copper is pretty dumb. I did it to prevent lightning strikes from changing the block color. You know what also solves that issue? A single lightning rod. 3 copper ingots. Yeah, I was so deep in the project here that I wasn't thinking anymore. So I set up a whole auto-waxing setup before I built the roof. Looks a little interesting now, but it will get better. Just to get it out of the way, I also built the endstone walls, which I left as plain endstone because I want to draw focus to other parts of the build. Hey, that at least has the shape of a build now. That's the first time. Spyglass just zooms way too far. Time for the next step. The map looks like a pretty clean ender eye, but the build can still be a lot better. I'm thinking I should add giant trees. Still got mangrove and jungle logs from the farms I built earlier. There's still a lot of spruce somewhere in my base from where I used to do my manual tree cutting. Don't ask me why. And then I need dark oak, but for that I need one more farm. Luckily, this is the easiest tree farm to build. Literally. This is a sick design by Squilly, which I found from rekrap's melon runs. It uses a wild mechanic where blocks that are being pushed by a piston turn into something called block 36, but only for the single game tick in which they are being pushed. Block 36 has 0 blast resistance, so if you get the timing right, it will explode a whole tree with one TNT blast. This farm is semi-auto, as you have to actively operate it, but it will give you a double chest of dark oak logs in about 10 minutes. Also, you can build this farm super early game, because it needs 0 hard to get materials, which makes it one of my favorite farms ever. Shout out to Squilly for cooking this up. Let me build up the trunk of the first tree. Oh, that looks very cool, but clearly it doesn't work on the map. So I designed a canopy where every top block matches the platform underneath. Let me make a quick trip to get the resources and I'll build it up. I need prismarine from the Guardian farm output. There's packed ice in the main storage at the base. the old storage at the main base. There we go. Grab light blue wool from the sheep farm. Stripped warped hyphae, which means I take some warped fungus from the old nether tree farm, and then we can get the warped stems much faster from this new farm. I also got a ton of warped wart blocks from that, so I made some composters here to recycle all those back into bone meal. Now I just have to strip the hyphae. That is everything, so it's time to make the canopy for the first tree, which actually involved some surprisingly fun light medica parkour. But that's not the most interesting thing. Let's talk about how I made the trees. To create the canopy, I used a sphere brush in World Edit that painted 70% air and 30% jungle leaves. Once that looked right, I replaced all the top blocks to the block I needed in the build, and then I started painting from the bottom with the block palette, masking the jungle leaves so I didn't replace any of the blocks I had already colored. And in the end, that looks like this. Let me grab the map and see if I did it right. Yo, that's a pretty good job. There are a few pixels that need fixing, but generally it looks good. There's one issue here. All the top blocks in this part are copper, but they need to be warped warts. Unfortunately, I messed that up in the schematics, so I have to fix it now. I just put them on top, but that still works for the design. Except for this one corner up here. Yeah, that's much better. So the concept for the trees works well. Let me build a bunch more of those all around the entire city. There's already a lot more detail to the build, but I have to clean up some of the mistakes on the maps. It's mostly some of the glow lichen that I missed. All the mistakes are now fixed, so the trees are done. It really does look like a proper city now. It's so cool in between those mountain ridges. But there's more work to do still. I want to get rid of the outer platforms and build the end zone walls up a little higher, with roofs on top and windows at the front and the back. So first, let's get rid of the blocks that we don't need. By bringing the walls in a little bit, the roofs will have some overhang, and we create some space for a few details underneath that overhang. Just place a roof on this one. Okay, the shape works, but it needs a little bit of variation. There, that side already looks a lot better. I don't want to use any other blocks here because I don't want to draw too much attention to this part of the build. But I will make this look like the front of a house. That looks alright. Now I can build the end zone parts of these all the way around the city. I made the roof slope down towards the middle to create some focus. But my acacia logs ran out. While I go and restock those, let's take a peek at the updated map to see what's going on. Okay, that looks pretty terrible. From the front, everything looks good. Although I do need a little bit of texture on the walls. I very deliberately didn't texture them fully because I don't want to draw focus there. Everything in the design is pointing towards the middle. What the heck, dude? I was just talking about not drawing focus. Leave me alone. To add some detail, I need composters and copper trapdoors. But I'm out of copper. Let's see what I can find in this cave over here. Now I just need to space out the trapdoors because I want exposed trapdoors. Put the composters in place, the trapdoors, and then finally the roofs. I finished all the tough roofs, but this green terracotta one doesn't really work. Every block in the game can have 3 different color shades on the map to display light and shadow. Traditional map art uses that feature, which is why these look so funky in your world. But here, it ruins my map because it's such a clear distinction. I can fix that though. I just need to get some more terracotta. If I dye this lime and place it on the shadow side of the roof, it looks much closer on the map than when it's all green. These platforms at the back will be flat, call it a trick from Grian's book. The map looks great. This is the final form for the map art, but I believe I can make the build quite a bit better. That front wall is absolutely massive and way too flat. But the curved roof provides some cover to build underneath without messing with the map pixels. And then I want some decoration in the front. I already cleared out some space, but there's a tricky block I need here. 21 diamond blocks. I'm not sure if I still have diamond ore to craft those, but they're quite important. If I have it somewhere, it's still in my old storage. Oh, that's not quite what I meant. These are actually part of the room, but this made me remember something else. I think I have the diamond blocks in the castle's secret treasury. Let's take a walk through the main castle entrance, down the winding staircase, through the throne room, and then a further winding staircase down into the castle dungeons, where we find a hidden button that puts us into the lower part, where a secret entrance gets me to the treasury. And I was not wrong, there's diamonds here. There we go, that's 23. So I get to leave 2 of these blocks here. Let's get out of here. I can sneak back onto the main pathway and head back to the build site. And with those 21 diamond blocks and a couple other things, I can make this. Now that is a cool front of the build. I said I would make a build that was cool up close and on a map, and I think I have it. But there's one more added bonus step to really finish it off. Step 5, enter the end. But in a cooler way than that. First things first, let me dig this all the way down so we have some room to decorate. This is a good foundation. Let's use moss and bone meal to get rid of the deep slate. Now I want to get rid of his water, but that's a bit problematic because I actually need it. Without the water to kill my momentum, I pop a totem once I get to the end. Because Minecraft velocity is interdimensional. I know, it's weird. I've come up with a redstone system that can dispense the water for me. These walls will work as the wire to get the signal down, and this double piston extender can push a redstone block out to the dispenser to activate it, without having a whole redstone system visible in the tube itself. I don't know if the timing is right, but I guess I'll just have to test it. Double totems and a god apple. Let's go. Okay, I actually took 8 hearts of fall damage there with the resistance from the enchanted apple. A bit of tweaking got the redstone timing right, but it would be cooler if it doesn't look like I'm falling into an end portal. I've never actually done this before, but there's a trick to get rid of the portal frames using red mushrooms. This is awesome. Yo, a single block is very subtle. Now let's decorate this bottom room with endstone. And then I'm building a spiral of redstone ore going up. I need some more regular redstone ore though. Maybe I can find it in the water caves. Nowadays, regular redstone is pretty rare, but it's not that hard to find a lot of lapis. So if I pick all of that up, I can probably transition from deep slate redstone ore to regular stone lapis ore. Okay, this is it. It is done. Everything is ready, and I'll show you in a second. But man, this project, what an adventure it has been. I have fully automated storage now for future projects, and possibly the coolest marker on my map that I have ever seen. Let's set my respawn point back to the bed in the castle's royal chambers and do a full lap to see what it all looks like now. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you on the next one. Looney out.